Hey everybody, Eric here from Nomadic Fanatic, coming to you from inside the bus. Today I'm going to be introducing a new series on the channel. It's going to be a once a month Q&A, mostly related to questions and answers that I receive about the bus. I'm making it exclusive to my Patreon viewers as far as submitting the questions. So if you join me on Patreon, and you can do so for as little as $5, there's a link in the video description. You will get updated content, you will get almost live pictures from the build and other things going on in my life, as well as access to live streams. We actually do live streams several times a month. And as a Patreon member, you will get access to that, as well as you get to leave me your personal questions, where I will be answering those questions here in today's first video on the series. I won't be mentioning any last names, and if you want to be anonymous, you can also be anonymous. But I'm going to make that exclusive to Patreon and keep those questions coming. Once a month, I will be putting a post on there asking for more questions. And there's some interesting ones to start this one off. So we're starting inside the bus here, and I'm just going to answer questions and take a little break on building out the bus and doing demo. Sound good? Let's go. It's starting to feel like a home in here. It still has that bus feel with the windows, you know, but I am starting to feel like this is going to be a wonderful custom-made home, and I'm very excited about that. Before we start, I do want to thank my video sponsor. Thank you, ExpressVPN, for sponsoring today's video. I use ExpressVPN on all of my devices, my laptop, my cell phone. It keeps me protected when I'm using unsecure Wi-Fi out there. It also keeps me protected from those annoying ads that keep popping up as we approach Black Friday. You know what I'm talking about. You'll be sitting out there campfire talking, oh, I want to get this, I want to see how much this hot tub is, and then all of a sudden, the next time you log into YouTube, all of your ads are all about this hot tub that you were talking about. Well, ExpressVPN makes it much, much more difficult for those advertisers to steal your personal information and target you and just bombard you with all this stuff. It's like, stop listening to me. It definitely has helped out a lot, and I've been using ExpressVPN for over 4 years now. Oftentimes on the road, I am stuck using unsecure Wi-Fi. You know, when you go into a coffee shop, or you go into McDonald's or Lowe's because you can't get any reception on your phone, so you tap in, and as soon as you start searching for stuff on there, if you don't have ExpressVPN on it, it's so easy for advertisers to steal your information, and you just simply are not as secure as you think you are. With ExpressVPN, it is super easy to turn on and off as I please. Just open up the ExpressVPN app, and you can select any country. There are lots of countries and lots of areas within the United States you can choose. Just click a button, and within a couple seconds, we are connected, just like that. Now everything is encrypted and much, much safer than not having ExpressVPN. I use it on all of my devices. In fact, using my laptop or my phone without ExpressVPN is like building an awesome bus and then leaving the door wide open to anything and the unknown. You just don't know. Right now, you can take advantage of ExpressVPN's Black Friday Cyber Monday offer to get the absolute best VPN deal you'll find all year. Scan the QR code on the screen right here, or use my special link, expressvpn.com/nomadic, to get 4 extra months with the 12-month plan, or 6 extra months with the 24-month plan. Totally free. That's expressvpn.com/nomadic to get an extra 4 or even 6 months of ExpressVPN for free. Thanks again, ExpressVPN, for sponsoring today's video. Now back to the Q&A. Let's get to our first question here. Joshua R. says, have you ever heard anything from any of the new owners of your old RVs and how they're holding up? That's a good question. I've certainly owned a lot of RVs, right, Joshua? Well, let's just go to the last one. When I got the Bigfoot and I sold, what was it, Frida the Tioga right here in Quartzsite, La Posa South, 1 year ago today, I think it was. Yeah, I have actually followed up with Geo Gypsy Traveler. It's unique. It's the first time I've ever sold one of my RVs to an actual YouTuber. And so she is in this area. We'd actually need to go find her again. I would love to see a little more details of what she's changed. She's made it her own, but yet every time I see the outside, it's my RV on the outside. I don't think anything has changed on the outside. It's definitely unique. And I think you actually bring up a good point. It would be fun to catch up with her and do like a second little interview, see what she's been liking and enjoying. I know she's been traveling all over in the Tioga, and it was just a really good fit for her having all that solar and batteries and stuff. But other than that, I have unfortunately not been able to keep up. And the only reason, like I said, is because she's making YouTube videos. Kind of unique, right? If you ever get a chance to sell a rig, sell it to a YouTuber. Then you get to see how your rig lives on in a different life, right? It's kind of cool. Mark and Amanda both had the similar question here. Are you planning on keeping the Bigfoot after the bus is done? Absolutely. I'm not getting rid of the Bigfoot simply because I have something else. I think they're two very different tools on the road. You know, the Bigfoot being a 4 Seasons RV, the bus being something I can go park at Taterland and live in once it's done with lots and lots of room, but do I really want to drive it all over the country? And then you've got the Bigfoot that, you know, can go to any RV park, and it's built as an RV, looks like an RV, it won't get as many questions as the bus. I don't need to sell the Bigfoot, so I'm not going to sell the Bigfoot. In fact, I've actually gotten behind on a few things on the Bigfoot. The furnace no longer works, and the water heater has gone out on me. I know I said it was giving me trouble. I need to put some love and attention into the Bigfoot, but for right now, it is wonderful having it while we do the build, but I'm not going to be getting rid of it after the build is done. So yeah. Byron M. Any particular reason you dislike composting toilets? They really aren't that hard to maintain, and there is no smell if you keep up with it. Well, Byron, I'm going to answer this for me. Everyone has their own opinion. This has been a long-going issue for me as I talk about it in the past, composting toilets. Do I really even have a right to talk about it? I've never had a composting toilet. Let's be clear. I never have owned one. I've never wanted to. But I've had lots and lots of close friends of mine and YouTubers have them and talk about them. And you're gonna get two sides, I think. You're gonna get the YouTube side. Oh, we love our composting toilet and we're saving the world and it's so wonderful and we don't smell anything. And then you have your campfire side chats with friends who have already swapped out their composting toilet for a normal RV style toilet, and then that's when I get the truth, you know, and it's like, yeah, I mean, if you keep up with the shavings and you disconnect the urines from the solids, you know, here's the thing, no matter what, we can't get over you are still going to have to physically remove your number 1s and number 2s from the composting toilet and walk it through your home. Okay, that's going to be a regular thing. It doesn't go down. It comes back up with you and goes through your home outside, and then you got to find a place to put it on the road. So what if there isn't like a free dumpster or somewhere to chuck it or something like that? That can be a little stressful. I would almost say that you're not really able to boondock out in areas when you have to find a trash can for your poop and pee. Not to mention, okay, look, and this is something that happens all the time. People will build out a bus and they'll put in their gray tank. They'll actually plumb a gray tank, a holding tank like an RV for your sink and your showers. And then once a week or once every 2 weeks, they do what every RVer does. We go find a dump station. There's a lot of free ones, but you pull up to it, you hook up your hose, you pull a valve and you dump it. Well, what steps are you saving by having a composting toilet when you still have to have a gray holding tank? Why not have a black tank right next to it with a whole, you would literally, here's what you'd do. You would pull the gray and then you would pull the black. That was like half a second to pull one valve. And then when they're both done, you close it and you close it. Why would you want a composting toilet if you haven't saved yourself any trips going to a dump station? You still have to go to a dump. You guys see where I'm going with this? Now, if you found some magical way to also eliminate gray water, or if you're one of those people who breaks the rules and just dumps your gray water wherever you feel fit because you don't think it's a problem, and I do not condone that. I think that is a terrible idea. It's also illegal to do that out in a place like this. So in a future video, I'll be showing you how I actually dump my Bigfoot tanks into there without driving my Bigfoot up. I've always driven my RVs to the dump station and water, but in an upcoming video, I'm going to show you how I avoid that with my portable poop thing. But again, composting toilets, they don't stop you from having to go to dump stations. You still have to go for your gray tank. So I don't personally understand that. You're right there. It's one more valve next to it. Is it worth having a composting toilet? I don't think so. I don't think so. Donna F, will you be able to take the bus to Fort Wilderness, or will you be saving trips like that for the Bigfoot? That is another great question, because we're all different. I'm building this bus not to go to a place like Fort Wilderness in Florida. First of all, that's really far away, and diesel's expensive. Secondly, this bus is being built as an off-grid kind of boondocking machine where I won't be parking next to each other. I could actually take this to Fort Wilderness if I wanted to, but no. That's another reason why I'm keeping the Bigfoot, is so that I can go to designated camping areas with an RV and take the bus to more remote, beautiful locations and boondock away from people. So yeah. Steve S, is there danger of water lines freezing when it's only 32 at night and 50s during the day? Or does it have to be a full day or a couple days before I'm in trouble? And I think this is more of an RV question, but it falls in line with the way we're building the bus also. No, I don't think you need to worry that much. I've had problems with freezing pipes in the past, but it doesn't happen as soon as it hits freezing. You've actually got to have enough freezing overnight to cause problems. And what you might not know is the water tanks that are in RVs, they're not rated for 32. They're rated for, most of the time, 22 to 24 degrees. If it's 25 degrees, that tank won't freeze. It simply won't. It can't get through the plastic to freeze that tank. And so you probably won't have a problem unless it's down into the teens. I've had two problems in 13 years with RVs, both with the same Tioga, actually. Now, one time was completely my fault. I wasn't using the onboard furnace. I was using a catalytic heater with propane, and I closed the bathroom door. And so it was warm in the RV space. It was not warm inside the bathroom. And the problem with that is it got so cold that it cracked the diaphragm in the back plastic of the toilet and caused a leak. But I caught it right away because my water pump was on, and you wake up and hear, that's the water pump just going full blast. And that's a bad sound. That means you have a cracked pipe somewhere and water is leaking all over the place. So I caught that one, and then the other time it was a water pump issue. The water pump had also gotten too cold under where it was mounted in one of my RVs, and it simply turned it off. When it warmed up, the water pump turned right back on. Those are the only two times I've had a problem, and both times it was in the teens overnight. So I don't think you have to worry necessarily just because it's freezing. I guess that's my short answer. Yeah. Thanks for the question, Steve. And Karen B, will the length of the bus prohibit you from visiting national parks and Fort Wilderness Campground, another Fort Wilderness campground? Actually, yes, it will. But it's not really just bus specific. It's more than that. It's a little more complicated than that, because even my Bigfoot can't camp at national parks. They're all a little different, but if there's a general rule, I would say you need to be under 25 feet to be able to camp at a national park in your RV. Anything more than that, you might not be able to, and you probably won't be able to. They only want small RVs in those national parks. But again, a national park, you go there to experience the beauty. But why would you pay to camp in a national park side by side with other noisy, loud, screaming, barking dogs and all that if you don't have to? I like to camp outside the park and then bring my motorcycle or scooter or bicycle or car or truck into the park to enjoy it. I haven't stayed and camped at too many RV parks in my RVs on purpose. But your other question about Fort Wilderness, no, the length of the bus will not prohibit me from going to a place like Fort Wilderness. They don't care. It's just a camping rig. But you are going to come into some problems with it being a bus at camping membership places like K&M Resorts or KOA campgrounds or Thousand Trails, definitely. And many other small mom and pop campgrounds. You pull in a bus, they're just gonna say no, or they're gonna kick you out, even after you paid online, because you don't have that RVIA sticker on the side of your RV, which designates that RV was built and manufactured as an RV from a credible shop somewhere here in the United States. Without that, you just have a bus like mine that is titled as an RV, but it's a self-converted, self-built RV. Yes, it might be self-contained fully and do everything that a normal RV does, but because it doesn't have that RVIA sticker on the side, oftentimes they will not let you stay there. They will refund you. But I've also had that happen for other reasons, like, oh, we only accept RVs that are 10 years old or newer. They kicked me out. They refunded me and kicked me out. I couldn't believe it. But yes, having a bus is going to make it so that you're going to have a more difficult time staying at RV parks. I'm not doing it. That's not why I'm building this bus. But if that's why you're building the bus and you want to take your bus to RV parks, I would say call first. Don't do any online reservations. Don't pay up front. Call them up and be 100% transparent with them. I am in a self-converted school bus. Don't lie. Just tell them what it is, because they're going to find out when you get there and pull up in it anyway, right? Tell them I'm in a self-converted school bus. It's fully self-contained. It's titled as an RV, and I have insurance and registration. Are you going to have a problem when I pull in and try to stay there? And that way you have prepared them to answer that question. You don't waste your time. You don't go there for nothing and then have nowhere to go. Okay. Also, I've talked about this. This is something new within the last couple years, but RV parks are also now starting to be really strict on when you enter, you have to provide proof of current registration. They're going to make a copy of your current insurance, and if you have pets, they might sometimes ask for your pet vaccinations, rabies, leukemia, and up to date on all your annual shots. Don't believe me? I know you guys don't believe me. I've already shown it on this channel. I'm going to get so much hate for even saying that. They can't do that. They do it. It doesn't matter if they can't do it. They do it, guys. It happens. So you heard it from me. You don't believe me. I don't care. It's going to happen eventually, and you're going to go, oh yeah, Eric said they might do that. But yeah, that was the long answer. You might have problems getting your bus into a campground or RV park. It's going to happen. Let's see. Frisky Dingo. Are you going to tow anything behind Bumblebee the Caterpillar? First of all, Frisky Dingo, I love the Caterpillar. That is hilarious. In fact, I'm gonna pop that up into the top 5 names for the bus. I love that. Well, I can't tow the truck because the truck's not towable unless you disconnect the drive shaft of the truck every time you want to tow it and then put it back together. That's not really an option. Plus, it's a very heavy truck. I didn't get the truck to tow it. I got it for Arizona property and stuff like this, right? But I do plan to tow Trailer Swift behind the bus, and that's going to increase the length. But they have universal hitch kits that you can install, and hopefully we'll be putting that on this winter here in Quartzsite. And then I'm going to even be taking off the Harley Davidson decals from the trailer, because before I paint the outside of the bus, I'm going to also paint the trailer to match. So, and I'm not against towing a car later, like a small towable car behind the bus, but for right now, having the Harley trailer and all the tools and stuff that are in the trailer with me behind the bus is going to be more beneficial than having a truck or a car. Nancy A, won't the bus be too heavy after you build it out with solid wood and everything and be slow up hills? Probably. It will probably be slow, but were buses meant to be fast? They're for driving down school roads and stopping and picking up children. Plus you're driving a big, huge rectangular box down the highway. It's not exactly aerodynamic to start with. But thank you for reminding me. Actually, I want to get the bus weighed at a truck station before we do the build out. It has a gross weight of 36,000 pounds. That's a lot of weight, but I want to find out what it is dry so I know as I'm building it how much weight I'm putting into it. So thank you for reminding me. But yes, it will be slower. It'll be slower. It's not going to be fast, okay? Travels with Charlie. Being a fan of amusement parks, have you ever considered a trip to Hershey Park? I'm sure you'd love it. I did have a plan. I actually had an RV reservation this summer near Hershey Park in Pennsylvania, and all my plans changed when all the tornadoes and hurricanes and flooding happened, and I said, I'm not going to go to the Northeast just yet. I do want to do that. In fact, I want to do more smaller parks, including Hershey Park, but less Disney stuff. More smaller, maybe not so well-known parks. And Diana and I were even talking about not doing Disney for Christmas next month. Not doing Disneyland or Disney World, but maybe trying out one I haven't been to in California, like Knott's Berry Farm. Never been there. And they do Christmas-themed stuff, kind of like Dollywood does. So yeah, eventually I would get up to Pennsylvania though. Josh C. I've seen people ship their RVs over to Europe and travel all over. Have you considered doing that? Think of the views you'd get. Yes, but shipping like the Bigfoot to a place like Europe. Okay, so it's heavy the other way around. People ship their RVs from Europe and travel the country over here all the time. You see so many license plates, they put it on a ferry and then they're traveling over here. But you've seen how small and narrow those RVs are from Europe? That's because of the infrastructure of Europe. Big, wide, tall RVs that we have here in this country, they might not be able to navigate the roads over there because they weren't designed for that. Same thing with Hawaii. If you've ever been to Hawaii, you won't see RVs in Hawaii. I think they actually might be banned. Don't quote me on that. But the infrastructure of the state of Hawaii is not built to accommodate RVs. So I wouldn't advise ferrying your RV over to Hawaii to drive it around there. If we were going to do that, and Diana and I have talked about that, we will fly over, we will board the cats, and we will rent an RV that's suitable over there to rent to go explore those areas instead. We do want to do that. Joseph, will you tow the truck behind the bus, or is it just for Arizona work and play? I think we kind of covered that. We're going to start with towing the trailer and the Harley. Kent K, what are you planning to use for AC and heat in the new bus? Great question. We have one mini split to install in the bus, and no, that's not going to be enough, but we're going to start with one, and we're going to add a second one later, because having one mini split there is not going to cover a 40-foot bus. We're going to need another one back there. But we're never going to use them both at the same time, right? We're going to have different areas to cool and heat. So the mini split I have now is it's a dual mini split air conditioner, and it's got a heat pump in it, so it can also heat. And as long as we're getting lots of solar, load this roof up with solar, we're going to be able to run that air conditioner as much as we need. But for heat, we have 2 diesel heaters to install in the bus. We already have them, and this is new technology to me, but I'm new, but I'm hip to the diesel heaters. They work well, and they're very efficient on diesel fuels, and that will not be our only way to heat the bus. Redundancies. I will always travel with a propane tank for like the barbecue grill. Well, that propane tank can hook up to my Wave as a backup heater. Plus, we'll probably also have at least one 110-volt electric heater that we can use if we're plugged into power or we're running our generator. So redundancies, but diesel heat will be the main, and the mini splits. That's 4 ways to heat the bus. Do I really plan on taking the bus to cold places? No, I don't. John M., which state is least friendly towards RVers and why? Not necessarily the most expensive in your experience, and which state is the most welcoming and why? Well, we're all going to have different opinions of that. I could say which state is the most welcoming as far as RV parks per capita, which I would have to say Florida. It has more RV parks and campgrounds per capita than even the state of Texas. But then again, Texas has the state park pass, which rivals New Mexico state park pass, and I would say it's very friendly to RVers. Also, Texas has any RV can stop at any roadside rest area or picnic table or anything for 24 hours without question, where other states like California and New Mexico strictly say you can't even park an RV overnight. But the least friendly, I'm going to have to give it to the state of California, because it's the only state I've been to in the 48 lower states where you can get off of the interstate, off of I-8 or I-10 or I-5, and off the off-ramp of the interstate as you approach this city in California, there's a sign, and I've shown it on my channel. There's a sign that says, "City ordinance, no RVs allowed." What does that mean? How did you pass a law banning RVs in your city? It means you can't stop. You can drive on the roads, but you can't stop. Like a normal car can, pull into the Aldi's and shop. They pass city ordinances banning RVs. You're not allowed to park your RV. You can't stop. You can't stop on the side of the road and go see your family and friends in that city if you're in an RV. And as far as I've seen, there are some strict rules up in the Northeast, like New Jersey and New York, and Vermont had a couple weird ones, but nothing like California's unheard of bans on RVs, just simply discriminating people for the vehicle they're in based on nothing but the fact that you're in an RV and not an actual car. And I've never seen anything like that except in Florida. However, Florida has some wonderful national parks, and they invite you to bring your RV as long as you go to an expensive, dedicated RV park. They don't want to see you parked on the side of the road or boondocking somewhere, or living for free in your RV anywhere in California. And I could go on and on about California's unfriendliness to RVs. It's been interesting to see them unveil the new anti-generator laws in the state of California, and how they're now manufacturing RVs with propane generators instead of gas generators. And it's not that you can't have a generator in California. I can use mine. You just can't bring new ones in. Californians can cross the border into Arizona or Nevada and go buy a gas generator and bring it back and use it. So it's not really a ban. It's just they stopped selling them, and they stopped manufacturing RVs with them. Now, oh geez, do we have to talk about some new developments here in 2024? 6 states have passed laws, including the entire West Coast, Washington, Oregon, and California. By the year 2026, they cannot manufacture gas RVs anymore. How in the heck are you going to implement that? So there's no more RVs being made in the year 2026 in 6 states? And New York, and I believe New Jersey too, of course. All those states are banning gas RVs. We'll be closely following that in the next couple years. Are we moving to all electric RVs? I think California is just going to lose the entire. Well, they can't make the RVs. So how can they sell them? You know, it's like that's going to be an interesting development. More on that later, though. Oh, and which state is the most welcoming? Sorry, John. Me personally, the great state of Arizona is the only state that simply embraces this kind of lifestyle. I'm not talking about RV parks, by the way. I'm talking about embraces and welcomes people who choose to live in their RV out of choice, not necessity, but out of choice. They would rather live in an RV in an area like this in Boondock. You know, the BLM is never going away. They might raise their prices in a couple years, but it's not going away. And camping and living in your RV is not going to go away. You can also find property, like my property up in Sholo, Arizona, which is zoned and allows you, if you choose, to live in your RV or your mobile home on your own property. You go to other states nearby, you guys already know. They've outlawed, you can buy your land, but you can't live in your RV on your own property. In some counties in Texas, you can't even put a cord going from your house to your RV to trickle charge your batteries, because they consider that living in your RV, proof that you're living in your RV. Okay, some states have amended that whole no RVs in your property. You can live in an RV while you're building your home, but hurry up and build the home in this amount of time so that we can tax you. And so it's tricky. Arizona is the most friendly RV state in this country, in my opinion, okay? Do you have a bus budget? This is an anonymous person asked this, and yes, I have a budget in my mind, but Diana and I are keeping all receipts and logging every expense we pay, and at the end of this build, in full transparency, I'm gonna tell you exactly how much it cost us to build it. But I do have a number in here, I'm just not sharing it with you. I guess that's important to know. I'm not just going full tilt, right? I'm waiting each month until I have money to buy new stuff, and I'm gonna be building this as I make videos and make money on the YouTube videos and sponsors to be able to complete it. I don't have the money to complete it right now, so it's kind of an interesting way to build a bus, right? No, I think that's kind of normal. A lot of people that have 9-to-5 jobs, they can only work and build on their bus after their normal job, which is how they have money to be able to finance and build and buy parts for the bus, right? I think that's kind of normal, but I do have a budget in mind, just so you know. Kevin P., are you installing propane tank in your bus for heat, cooking, and water heater? Okay, sorry, that was strange. My Sony camera just got too hot and shut off. I'm really hoping it saved everything we already just filmed. Back to the propane question. No, there will be no propane in this bus at all. And I know that's going to be controversial because everybody does it. I don't care. So in this bus, in order for me to say that I am fully 100% self-sufficient, that means I don't want to rely on propane anymore. I don't want to have to go to town to get propane to cook my food and to keep my refrigerator cool and to shower and heat up my hot water. So we're actually going all electric in this bus. And I think we're going to be able to do that with the amount of solar that we're going to have on the roof and the inverter system. I cannot wait to show you the power system and the batteries that are going into this bus, guys. We're gonna have a drop-in 110 volt stove burner. We're gonna have an oven, toaster oven, convection oven, air fryer combination that plugs in. I have electric 110 volt tanked 8-gallon water heater. Yeah, Although I know they do sell electric on-demand hot water heaters. I'm just not going that route because it's going to take a lot longer with 110 volt. So yeah, everything is going to be electric in here. The only reason I'm going to ever need to leave the bus in an apocalypse is to get more water, which I don't need to move the bus. I can get water in the truck and bring the truck back here, or to dump my tanks. 2 more questions. Jaron P. Did you ever consider doing a trip around Canada or other countries in your RV? And if you did, what practical issues stopped you from doing so? There's 2 things. First of all, pets. I cannot live without my pets. I'm not saying you can't bring your pets into other countries. You certainly can. In fact, you can get your pets into Mexico probably without anything needed. But getting them back, I've heard horror stories of people having their pets quarantined for 2 weeks and then had to get an RV park just on the other side or something like that. It's not impossible. I'm not saying I'll never do it. I'm just saying bringing an RV with your entire life, if it were on this continent, like here in North America and doing that, I don't feel comfortable doing it myself. I may travel with someone else, but I think I'm more interested in leaving the RV and the cats here boarded up, and then flying out, even though I hate flying on a plane, but flying out to other countries is probably more practical. And then last question for this episode, Mason M. What is your favorite RV you've ever owned? Well, you said RV. This is technically an RV. The Bigfoot is still my favorite RV. I don't give that RV enough credit for what it is and what it does and how much different it is compared to all the other 9 RVs that I've owned in my life. It's just built better, it's solid, it's 4 seasons. Well, it would be 4 seasons if the furnace worked. The insulation's better, it sounds better, and it's just not cheaply put together. I like the Bigfoot more, but once I get this done, I'm calling this an RV because its title is an RV, and it is an RV, so. Thank you guys for submitting the questions. Again, I will be doing this again next month in December. And if you join me on Patreon, there is a link below in the video description to join me there for as little as $5 a month. You'll get all these awesome perks and you'll be my special fan on Patreon and get all the exclusive content and updates from me on the road, especially with this bus build, which we're getting right back to in the next video. So thanks for joining me, guys. I will see you soon. We'll finish up this bus demo.